Morning, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Great. I tried something new with my mic to see if it's going to be a little bit better. Let me know if it sounds any different for you guys. Is it better? Like more clear? Sounds loud and clear. Okay, that's good, right? Okay, cool. Great. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Sounds richer. Okay. Hopefully it makes us richer. Great. I started a little bit early today. I made the watch list a little bit ahead of time today, so we'll go over it. So I did start into some ASST here today. Looking to add if and when it goes red. So we'll talk about all this stuff. I know it's still early. Morning, good morning. Morning, everyone. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. Hope everyone's doing well. No, I didn't get started. I just made the watch list ahead of time, and I had a small starter on ASST here, planning on adding if and when it goes red, which may be any moment now. So just been slowly scaling into ASST for that potential first red day setup. So ideally, if it breaks this 777 support, I will add some more. And looking for probably a move back down to 6 or 5. So we will get into that. There's been a big bidder at 785 all day. See what happens. Just gonna wait to see that 777 area break. Hope the audio sounds better, guys. Got a new microphone, so let me know if that sounds better. I think it was mostly the YouTube guys. So if you're on YouTube, let me know if the audio sounds better today. Sounds good, sounds good. Okay, cool. Very nice to hear. We'll get started here in a few minutes, guys. I know I started the live stream a little bit early today, but I have a small starters on ASST for that potential first red day setup. If you don't know what a first red day setup is, I mean, did you see the news with ASST and Bitcoin? So for me, champ, this is far beyond the news. This stock is up 1,500% in 3 days. Unless they cured cancer, it is very, very difficult for a move like this to sustain. So this is way past the news, in my opinion. But we'll get into it. Thank you, David.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. How's my audio sound? Does it sound better?
Um,
Or you
but
can't
now
tell?
for me it's a little low, but let me see if I could turn my thing up.
Got a new microphone out here, so.
How about mine? Is mine okay?
You sound great. You sound great, my
Man, I
friend.
don't know if you could hear around me, but there's a protest or something. So anyways, if I'm a little
One
distracted,
sec.
there's like people yelling outside of my window.
No, I don't hear the protest.
Okay, good.
Just make sure you're safe, dude. We don't want anyone abducting your ass.
Sorry?
So we don't want anyone abducting your ass for wrongful
Yeah.
protesting or something.
Yeah, they've got like loudspeakers and everything. Anyways.
Actually, speaking of protests, while we have time, Bao and I went to Hawaii together like years ago. And two things. Number one is Hawaii's far, man. For me, it was like a 13 or 14-hour nonstop flight. I watched
Right.
every Avengers movie, and I still had 3 hours left. So I was like, God damn.
Oh my God.
And when we get to Hawaii, the hotel we're staying at, they're fucking protesting. They're protesting at the hotel. They have buckets and they're slamming their buckets for the hotel. The restaurants are closed, this, that, the other thing. So that's the one and only time that I've ever experienced a protest.
That's crazy. Right when you guys are
ASST, is there any news? That does not seem like an organic move. So I don't think that move on ASST is natural, but who knows? Anyway, we will get into it, guys.
Oh man, that's a lot of toys you got over there, Carlos.
So definitely a big move there on ASST.
Yeah, seemingly out of nowhere.
So we'll get started here in another minute or so. All right, guys, let's get started here. So, morning, everyone. Welcome back to live trading. If this is your first time on live trading, welcome. We use the webinars channel in Slack to communicate. Excuse me. So, if you're brand new here, one second, let me just take a drink of tea. We use the webinars channel to communicate. The way we do live trading is pretty simple. We talk about what's working in the market, what's not working in the market. We build the watch list live, and then at 9:30 a.m., we trade the watch list live. So Coming into today, I made the watch list a little bit early. I had some extra time. I was awake a little bit early, so I made the watch list already, so I will post it right now, just so you guys can see. So GPUS 95010 ASST. This is my top watch today, looking for a first red day setup. So I will get into that shortly. QBTS way too strong, so ignoring. ZKIN trades very thin and trappy, so ignoring. SYTA, some money flow, so probably ignoring. And then WBUY range is kind of too crazy, so ignoring. So pretty much my main and only focus is this ASST today. I did end up taking some starters in the 780s and 790s just to kind of cure my FOMO. But overall, I am looking for, I'm pretty much looking for the stock to go red and stay red. So I think some people are having some issues with the Zoom, so that's frustrating.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I'll let you take it from there, Steve. But pretty much, guys, what I'm looking for today is I am looking for this ASST to do a first red day setup. Stock is up 1,500% from 50 cents all the way up to $10. Doesn't matter what the news is, doesn't matter what it is at this point. It is heavily extended, and that might give us a pretty big opportunity to the short side. So ideally looking for a push, a clear out at the open, and then if and when it does end up going red, I will look to trade up and size up there. Overall, the market's been really choppy lately. Definitely been struggling. ASST, I ended up stopping out for a loss yesterday. I ended up losing $5,000 yesterday, $5,700 yesterday, which sucks. But it's not so bad when 2 days ago, we made $171,000. So just trying to manage my risk, trying not to get too big too quick, trying to stick to the process, and I know that I will be rewarded if I do so. So coming into today, I do see a bunch of different stocks moving. I do see a bunch of different everything happening. One sec. I do see a bunch of different things happening, but my main focus here today is going to be, ASST. So give me a sec here, guys. So yeah, the main thing about this market, guys, that I want to kind of maybe educate on a little bit is the importance of having your stop, sticking to your stop, and walking away. ASST, yesterday we got that death candle. It held $5 and it ended up halting up. So instead of trying to fight it, instead of trying to bully it, instead of trying to prove myself right, I just stopped out around $6 or whatever the hell it was, and I walked away. And lo and behold, I saved myself $7, $8, $9, $10, right? So it's always tough taking a loss. I hate taking losses. And it's not even for the money. It's mostly just for the ego. I feel like men have significant ego when they're trading. That's why I think women actually make better traders, but that's a complete aside. So I think this market has been a really difficult market for a lot of traders. Every single trader that I've spoken to, every single one is struggling. And you ask yourself, what is the constant that is causing everyone to struggle? I think the constant that's causing everyone to struggle is the lack of follow through. Feels like everything is just random and choppy. A stock looks weak and then it ramps up on air. A stock ramps up on air and then it just dips down immediately. And then zombie times, the stock ramps up and then all of a sudden it kind of comes back down. So I feel like there's no consistency in the market, which has been leading to no consistency for the traders. And the only thing that helps during those cycles is truly just to size down, man. I say it all the time, but all it takes is one really good trade to make your month, to make your day, to make your year. And I had that on KTTA 2 days ago. So I've been sizing down for the last couple months. Like if you look at my P&L chart, you can see in March I made 25,000. In April I made 37,000, and in May 1 day of 171,000 equated for my entire month. So I try to remind myself that as a trader, my job is to just show up to the market and wait for my opportunity. What ends up happening is we show up to the market and we feel like the market owes us a green day. We feel like the market owes us some sort of big money play. And don't get me wrong, I would love to make big money every single day, but the problem is that the market is not designed that way. There are certain pockets in the market, there are certain days, there are certain opportunities that far outweigh other opportunities in the market. And your job is to show up and identify if that opportunity is there for you today. So for me today, I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but it seems like we have a potential opportunity like that today, right? So I want to be laser focused on that main opportunity. And as everything else is moving, the SYTA, the NVVE, the WBUY, the ZKIN, I'd rather just kind of leave that. I'd rather just kind of leave that to the experts, and I'd rather just focus on what I'm good at. Every day we're seeing a stock that's going extremely parabolic. Not regular parabolic, extremely parabolic. I was actually talking to a friend about this, and we were kind of trying to figure out what the hell's going on. In my opinion, there's a lot of traders that are short bias, and maybe not enough traders that are long bias. And what do I mean by that? I mean that these stocks that are moving based on the long bias are mostly from pumpers. There's so many pumpers online, and there's so many pumpers out there that's literally sole purpose is to jam these stocks up. Some of your favorite YouTubers, some of your favorite people online that we know that pump these stocks, something that you may not know is they get paid from these companies to pump up their stocks. So you hear, let's use something extreme, like an NVVE. An NVVE will approach a YouTube pumper and say, hey, I'll give you 50 grand if you pump up my stock pre-market. So not only do they make 50 grand from the company, they'll also make it from pumping up the stock themselves. So a lot of the action that's caused in these small cap stocks right at the pre-market is based on pumpers having these insider deals. These, I'm going to say allegedly in my opinion, these pumpers have these deals, right? So that's kind of what causes these stocks to kind of go crazy, right? Some of them went to jail. Some of them got indicted by the SEC, whatever it may be. But the point is that a lot of these moves are fake. A lot of these moves are pumps. Okay, fine. But what ends up happening is if these pumps are only traded by, let's say, 1,000 long bias traders, but 2,000 short bias traders, then all of a sudden what ends up happening is it ends up becoming crowded. So I think what's been happening is a lot of these stocks have been just super, super, super crowded lately. And what kind of shocks me as well is the fact that these locates are so expensive these days. There's been a time where these locates are 15, 20, 30 cents. You guys remember Zcar? Zcar was $5 a share to locate. $5 a share. Who the hell's locating at $5 a share? But the thing for me, guys, is like just understanding what type of market cycle we're in. This is a very, very, very trappy and choppy and difficult market cycle because a lot of the action that's been happening has been not organic. A lot of the action that's been happening has been just straight up pump and dump and manipulated price action. So for me as a short bias trader, when I see these pumps and when I see this manipulation, I obviously want to get involved. But the problem is that it is so manipulated, it is so crowded, that all of a sudden you kind of get your ass kicked. So I think a lot of, there was a guy I saw yesterday on Twitter that lost $1 million, man, on these stocks. I don't care how good you are. I mean, that's fucking crazy. And it's actually funny. I reached out to him on Twitter, and I was like, "Yo, like, if you need anyone to talk to, bro, like, I got your back." And bro, I forgot I had my Twitter notifications off. So he messaged me back, and he's like, "Dude, did you just go AFK on me after sending me that message?" And I was like, "Oh shit, dude, my bad. Like, I had my notifications off." So I was like, "Oh, what an idiot I am." So yeah, I'm an idiot sometimes. So anyway, point that I'm trying to make, guys, is that a lot of people are struggling. Um, a lot of people are struggling uh, in their trading. And the tough part is, guys, that the only way to kind of get through this is just time. So if you're struggling in this market, if you're having a difficult time in this market, just know that you are not alone. It is back to these, heavily algo manipulated stocks. Whatever algo has been running these small cap stocks, bravo. It's a very sophisticated algo because they know exactly what to do. And the thing is that, like, as AI improves, these robots are getting fucking smarter. So I think that ever since AI started to become more prevalent and more available, I think that a lot of these algos are getting just so much smarter and so much stronger, and it just makes it really, really difficult as a trader to, participate in these moves. So, pretty much long-winded answer to say that I'm very, very thankful that I had a pretty massive day on KTTA to offset 2.5 months of just choppy action. If you've been part of live trading for the past 2.5 months, you've seen the choppy action that we've been having. So I'm glad that you saw that all it takes is one day to kind of fix that. And this is just another reminder, guys, that when that big opportunity does show up, when that big opportunity is there, you better make damn sure you trade it aggressively, right? Because what ends up happening is, you're trading 1,000 shares, you're trading 2,000 shares, yada, yada, yada. And a first red day comes or a big opportunity comes, you're still trading 1,000 shares and 2,000 shares. You're like, I'm not making any money. It's because when those big opportunities come, you better go 5,000 shares. You better go 10,000 shares, right? So for me, it's always a matter of just kind of staying small and staying controlled and, not being so risky until I see that big day. And if that big day I size up and it goes wrong, I have to accept the risk. To make $100,000 in a day, you have to be okay with losing $100,000 in a day. That's just the truth. So if there's a day where I'm sizing up, if there's a day that I'm being aggressive, if there's any type of action like that, I have to be more than willing to accept the risk that comes along with the reward. So if you are not okay with the risk, that is totally fine, but do not expect the reward is going to come your way, right? So that's pretty much what's on my mind today. I definitely see tons of stocks moving. I definitely see tons of opportunity today. I just want to be focused on the opportunity that's going to fit me and for what I'm trying to do. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to pass the baton over to Steven for a little bit. And Steven, I'll let you take it from here, my friend.
Sure thing. So, by the way, if anything crazy happens on ASST, just cut me off because it's hard for me to watch that and kind of go through everything at the same time.
No worries, man. Do your thing.
Limited screen space. Cool. So, this is something I kind of touch on in bits and pieces, but I want to just kind of directly talk about this. I get a lot of DMs usually from people who just joined and they've been around a couple of days, even maybe a few weeks, or even a month or two, and they tell me like they want to quit or just not working out. And, this has been the pattern for a couple of years. The ones, I mean, you could say they're busy, whatever, but pretty much if they're not willing to put in the work, or they're just not sized correctly, or they're not following exactly our process, they usually, give up quick. And the ones who stick around are usually rewarded, right? So I wanted to kind of talk about this, basically surviving the learning curve. I think this is a really important topic, and I'm 1,000% confident you guys are all in the right place. But I just want to make sure that you guys are all taking the right steps that you should be taking to make sure that you get to that point where you're reaping the benefits of the work that you're putting in. I get really kind of, sad and disappointed when I see people putting in a little bit of work, or, I mean, when they don't put in any work after a week, I don't feel too bad, but I'm just like, disappointed. It's just a shame because I know that they wanted to change their lives. I know they wanted to do something new, and have this opportunity to make a, huge change in their life. But then something went wrong after the sign up process and they just didn't follow through with it. They weren't even willing to put in a couple weeks of work, right? To me, you know, I shared a story recently, but it's happened several times when members asked to quit and I challenged them to put another 30 days, in the discipline workshop. What do you have to lose? If you're already going to quit, why not? And it's happened. And, Mateo's a good example. There were several examples of this. I highlighted one a couple weeks ago. They did it, and then they saw a lot of consistency. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months green, everything changed, and it was all down to proper planning and risk management and sizing down, right? That's a huge one. So here's my kind of thoughts on this. Feel free if you guys want to chime in. And I'm going to kind of read through this, and then if you guys have any questions afterwards or anything you want to add to it, then I'll go through that after if I have time. Surviving the learning curve. So take it slow. The market's not going anywhere, right? I know when you guys first get started, you're super excited. There's a first red day, maybe today, coming up, and you want to, put all your eggs in that basket and go for it. But, that's really not the way to go. I mean, we've been teaching pretty much consistently the same thing since I started here. It's been almost 7 years, I guess, which is take it slow at first. I missed years of first red days, guys. I'm not saying much, but I saw members banking everywhere. We didn't have live trades back then. There weren't as many resources. And I just kept taking it slow, and that's why I'm still here. Had I went, all in the first couple months, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't be here today, and I wouldn't have lasted. So one thing that Alex always talks about and Bao is, unlike becoming a doctor or lawyer, trading is probably the only profession that you can make the same amount of money or more, but without 7 years or more of school, right? And once you're up and running, you can do it in an hour to a day. There's a lot of doctors, I know a lot of them in MIC, and they tell me that they're here to learn because, they're spending 12 plus hours a day at work. And while they love the money, obviously, it's a quality of life thing. And it's tough to spend that much time away from your family and not, being able to travel or do anything with your family and that kind of stuff. So a lot of people do make a lot of money, but they trade all of their time for a lot of money, right? And I know Alex talks about this a lot as well. But you can add this to your normal job. Some traders, after several years of consistency, end up replacing their income, and that's all. But it really doesn't take a lot of time. And the main thing about trading is it doesn't take a lot of time to become educated, and it doesn't take hardly any time at all once you're consistent to just show up and follow your process every day. And I don't know of any legal profession anywhere that can make that amount of money. But again, it takes a little bit of time and effort on your part, right? So how long does it take? Depending, some find consistency in a couple months, some a year or more, some never. It fully depends 100% on your ability to put in the work, follow the process, and control your emotions. Controlling your emotions, pretty much, I mean risk management, right? So understanding that your first goal as a new or not yet consistent trader is to survive the learning curve. There's a lot of great pics and memes on this one, but it pretty much boils down to this. There's a certain amount of time that this is going to take you. I don't know what that is. Like I said, I've seen some guys like Andrew and others come in and month 1, month 2, they're consistent. They've been consistent ever since. I've seen some after a year. I mean, it could be a couple months. It could be 6 months. Again, like I shared yesterday, the quickest way to get there, live trades discipline workshop and using all of our, some do that later. Some learn the hard way. I say just get in right away and do it, and you'll get there a lot quicker. But in any event, you've got to survive that learning curve. So like I discussed last week, this is a 2-step process. 1 is education, 2 is profits. Focus on your education first, the profits will follow. Then something that we always talk about here, but again, I want to just really hit this one home because I got a DM yesterday, similar to all the DMs I ever get, where it's somebody didn't size correctly and they're brand new and they had no business sizing the way they should, and now they don't want to stick around. So let me be as clear as I can. If you're new or not yet consistent, keep it small. I wish there was a way to regulate this. I wish there was a way that we could call your broker for you and have them have max loss on there if you're not consistent or seeing good results. But we can't. So you guys need to have a little bit of responsibility in this department. Keep it small. There's no reason to ever risk much until you can prove a few months. And I take that even a step further and say discipline in the discipline workshop. We give you calendars. If you could prove it for a couple months, then you're ready to size up. Ties correctly to survive the learning curve. Next, the biggest one that I've kind of been touching on, but use proper risk management. Contact your broker to set up your max daily loss, properly plan each trade with your risk amount and stops in place. After you're consistent, you have a couple months in the discipline workshop with proven discipline consistency and your profits are showing it, your emotions are under control, then size up slowly. I usually recommend 10 to 20% per month until you find your comfort level. Then go back down a little bit if the markets aren't favoring your style or if you're not comfortable. So yeah, to recap, if you're new or not yet consistent, focus on your education, keep your size small while you're learning, use proper risk management, max daily loss at your broker, hard stops always, and always have a plan on every trade. Finally, you are definitely beyond a reasonable doubt in the right place. So focus on our resources. Don't get caught up focusing on the money, and the profits will follow. So hopefully that was helpful. And I'll hand it back over to you, Alex. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Steve. So for everyone watching on YouTube, this is where we cut off the stream and start live trading exclusively for MIC members. So if you want to get access to this, to see it every day, if you were here literally, 3 days ago, you would have seen that $170,000 day. So if anyone wants to join, just email stevenrh1@myinvestingclub.com. And we're gonna cut the live stream off here and get to live trading in the next 2 minutes, guys. So let's get into it. Thanks, everyone.